Hi Dimes! Okay, so this is a video about how I'm curing my winter ashiness, okay? So let me preface this video by saying I am by no means a DIY crafty type person at all. Like, I don't even cook. My husband cooks all of our meals. I try to do my best being the person that cleans. And that's kind of my place in the home, okay? But that aside, this winter, for whatever reason, my skin has become the ashiest it has ever been in my life. Like, I took off my socks one day and I was horrified by what the backs of my feet look like. And I will spare you. I will spare you, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever is watching this video, I will spare you the looks or a photo of my feet, but trust me, it wasn't pretty. And so I was like, I need something because my skin is in some crazy, weird, dry state. And I know, drink more water, all that stuff, but, I don't know. I don't know why I was so ashy this year. So I was like, all right, well, let me, in the summers, usually all I need is like natural cocoa butter, not natural cocoa butter, I'm sorry. Coconut oil, like virgin coconut oil, and that's it. I rub it in, it dries really quickly, and that's really all I use as a moisturizer in the summer, and I have no problems all day on my feet, perfect. But winter, not quite working. And I also have some shea butter that I had purchased from Coastal Scents. I only have a bit left. I purchased this on Coastal Scents last year during their 50% off sale that they sometimes have during Black Friday. And shea butter, a lot of people swear by just shea butter on its own being what you need to moisturize. It wasn't doing it for me. It would look great, but it wouldn't last long as far as keeping my skin soft all day. So I googled online and everyone's like, oh, cocoa butter, cocoa butter, cocoa butter. And I remember I used to use Palmer's cocoa butter, and again I'd have the same problem. It wouldn't last all day. It would be greasy, which I don't mind it being greasy going on, particularly in the winter months when you kind of need that stuff. I don't mind that so much. But when you're greasy and it goes on and it doesn't last all day in terms of moisturizing the skin, what are you gonna do? So I googled and I found homemade recipes for making your own cocoa butter, because I said to myself, Palmer's, the actual cocoa butter ingredient is far somewhere in the list of items to use, the ingredients. So I wanted to make sure that whatever I was putting on was like the real deal and the high concentration of the stuff that I know will help with the winter ashiness. So I went online on Amazon.com and I purchased a pound of raw cocoa butter, and I will show you what it actually looks like. And yeah, it's like these dry chunks, and it's just raw cocoa butter. And I was like, no, that's not what you want to put on your skin just like that. There's no way. So I looked up recipes for homemade cocoa body butter, and there were a lot of recipes online, so many, and they called for basically just the cocoa butter and oil of your choice. And so I like coconut oil, so I purchased raw organic coconut oil as well. I purchased that also on Amazon, and links will be below from where, if you guys want to purchase these things, you can purchase them. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna give this a whirl. So I got out my I went to the stove, which is something I don't do very often. And what I did is number one, I took out about a pound of the raw cocoa butter and I melted it down on the stove. I just took a pound of it, poured it into the pot, melted it down. Step two is I took about maybe 3 tablespoons of the raw coconut oil. And remember, if you don't know, raw coconut oil is a solid until it melts down. Okay, and because I had this shea butter, I was like, you know what, let me throw in some shea butter. It's supposedly good for the skin, even though on its own, for me, not so much. So I put in about a tablespoon of the shea butter after I had added after I added like the 3 tablespoons of coconut oil into the mixture. So I melted everything down, threw it into the freezer for like 10, maybe 20 minutes. And then what I did is I poured, because at that point it's still pretty warm, and it's still, not warm, but it's definitely not a solid if you put it in the freezer for 20 minutes after you've had it on the stove, simmering. So I took out my whisk and my mixer, I used, the whisk and the whatever. Listen, I don't even know how to use these things. And I mixed it all up because I wanted it to be whipped. I wanted to make a whipped body butter, so it would be really nice and easy to go on the skin, all that. Well, that didn't quite happen. I don't know. Maybe I left it in the freezer too long. I think that was the case, because first try, it was, I actually had left it in the freezer too long. I think I left it maybe 45 minutes and it started to solidify. So then I had to put it back on the stove, melt it down, put it back in the fridge, and then try to mix it again. And it was definitely more whippy. If you see the picture that I'm posting here, it was definitely more whipped consistency, but it immediately kind of hardened again. It could be that I didn't put in, I put in maybe too much cocoa butter or not enough oil, or maybe too much oil, not enough. I don't know. But here's my deal. And then I poured it all into this jar that I purchased over at the Christmas tree shop for like $2. It says to put it in the glass jar. Maybe putting it in a glass jar, the recipe that I found, will make it, easier or better, or what have you. That notwithstanding, it was pretty whipped and very pretty looking, and then I scraped out the edges of the pan, and so it was more, not so pretty looking. And I really don't care what it looks like, but here's what I will say about the end result of this. So it may not be pretty. I'm not trying to sell it anywhere. It's just for me to use at home. But I'll tell you this. This stuff works really, really well. It works better than the shea butter I was using. It works better than Palmer's cocoa butter. I put some on this morning at like, I don't know, maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 o'clock. My skin, my feet, I checked, everything is looking phenomenal, very, very soft. And does it go on a little bit greasy? I would say it does. I would say it definitely takes a little bit to kind of blend it in. A little bit, just a teeny tiny bit, goes a long way. I would venture that this jar here may indeed last me for the duration of the winter. I do think so. And listen, this, and I can make more. I mean, I have so much that I can make. And so for under $30, I probably can make about 4 jars of these. Whereas if you go online and you try to buy organic cocoa butter from all these different stores, or all these different, organic vendors and body butter people that make these things, you're going to spend 30, 40 bucks for one of these. So make it yourself. Who cares? It doesn't look as pretty. It may not even smell as good. I will say this stuff smells like chocolate. So if you like the scent of chocolate, you will like it. If you don't, you can definitely buy like different oils, scented oils and things to kind of throw in there to make it smell however you'd like it to smell. I didn't bother with that because I like the smell of chocolate. But this stuff really, really goes on beautifully. It melts very, very quickly on the skin, and it really, really gives you that nice, supple, soft skin. And this, Dimes, is my cure for the winter ashiness. If you have any questions, or if you want to see more pics of how this all went down, visit my blog, www.dimepieceonadime.com. Thanks so much for watching, Dimes. Bye.